Andy Farrell is taking no chances with a very strong selection to play Romania. Mine is Mark, and let's talk rugby. Ireland v Romania. It's at the Stade de Bordeaux in Bordeaux. It's on Saturday the 9th of September and kickoff's 2:30 BST. So this is world rank number 1 versus world rank 19. That is the biggest disparity we're going to see in the pool stages. It's also going to be repeated when France play Namibia, because that's going to be world rank 3 versus world rank 21. So 18 positions between the respective teams, at least on current world rankings. So we're going to have a look at the two teams. I'm just going to run down through the Romania team because there's not much that I can, in terms of analysis, I can add to it. By the end of this Rugby World Cup, I should know more about the Romania team because I'll have watched probably all of their pool games. But let's just go through the team. So front row is Hartig. Then we got Kojukaru and Gordas. Second row is Motok and Yanku. Back row is Rosu, Nekulau and Chirika. Then halfbacks are Rupanu and Vauvasa, sorry. Left wing is Manamua. The centers, Tamane and Tangimana. Right wing is Onutu and fullback is Simonescu. Onto the bench then we've got Bardasu, Savine, Gajon, Itimiku, Ser, Konache, Baldor and Guntinake. So that's their team. Hopefully we'll get to learn a lot more about them through the game on Saturday and through the rest of the pool as well. And for the future, maybe be able to pick a few more of the players out. But onto the Ireland team then. So as I said in the intro, Andy Farrell has gone really strong with his selection here. So front row, we've got Andrew Porter at loosehead. I've said before, I think he's not in great form this year, so I'm hoping that he's going to play himself into form through the pool stages and improve as we get to the tougher games. Got Rob Herring there at hooker. I think he's honestly probably the only fully fit hooker that we have in the squad. Sheehan is still on the mend, and Kelleher, I would say is probably not 100%. That's probably why he's not starting this one. But Herring, decent in the line out, really good scrummager as well, and he's improved his game in the loose. We've got Tyke Furlong then at tight head. A lot of people call him the best tight head in the world. I'd say in current form that is not true, but on top form certainly is. He's looked unfit in the games to see him, and the tail end of the season he's been played for Leinster and in Ireland in the warm-ups, and he needs to get minutes in his legs, so it makes absolute sense that he is playing. Joe McCarthy in the second row there. The guy has been outstanding in the warm-ups and really did play himself into contention there, where it felt like when the squad was initially picked, nobody was talking about him as a possibility to go to the World Cup. He's partnered by James Ryan, who, has been kind of quietly going about just putting in excellent performances for Ireland all year. I think he's very important for Ireland. He was very important for Leinster as well. And we saw when he went off in that Champions Cup final, the impact that he has doing all that dirty work at the breakdown, the unseen stuff. So he's going to be important in terms of securing that quick ball that Ireland thrive on. Into the back row then we got Tyg Byrne, amazing poacher, but also, he's good and loose. He's got great silky skills for, offloads and stuff like that. Peter Romani, very similar player as well. Also, he loves his chat, but also loves to get up there and compete on the opposition lineout. So hopefully we see a bit of that. And then we have Caelan Doris, probably Ireland's best forward this year, I would say. And depending on how Ireland go, maybe he's going to be in with a shout for the World Player of the Year, but if it's under quarterfinal exit, probably not. Into the backs then, at halfback, we got James Gibson-Park and Johnny Sexton. So Sexton, obviously, he was injured for much of the season since basically the start of January, and then suspended because of his behaviour at the final whistle in the Champions Cup final as well. I think he should have got a longer ban than he did, but I'm happy to see him playing here. It makes sense again that he's playing because he needs those minutes in his legs, but he would have, in an ideal situation, he would have liked to have seen Crowley starting and Byrne on the bench for this one, so that both are getting game time ahead of Johnny's almost inevitable injury that's going to rule them out of either the South Africa or the Scotland game, or potentially both. But it's good to see him back here. He's the type of player who can hit the ground running as well, so not expecting too much rustiness from him. Left wing then, we've got James Lowe. That is absolutely his jersey, and there's nobody really putting a hand up, I think, to take it off him. I think the fact that he's improved his defence and he's got that massive boot as well makes it really hard to prize that jersey off his back. Centres then, we've got Bundy Aki and Gary Ringrose. Probably in an ideal world, Henshaw would be your starting 12 ahead of Aki, but it is very close between the two of them. And Bundy Aki has been showing in recent games, reminding we, the rugby public, that what he offers to Ireland. He offers a lot there. Gary Ringrose has been on great form. There has been some talk about his defence maybe lacking a little bit, but the guy generally plays really well for Ireland, and I'm excited to see how he's going to start this Rugby World Cup. And we've got Keith Earls, who recently earned his 100 cap for Ireland. I've said it before, he never lets us down when he plays for us, so I'm excited to see him hopefully get a try or two in this game. And then fullback Hugo Keenan, nobody's taking that jersey off him unless he is injured, so it's a really strong really strong selection there. There aren't that many frontliners, the likes of Van der Fleer, and as I said, Henshaw, and maybe Van der Fleer in the back row of Byrne, then into the second row, and then you probably have Sheehan starting at hooker. But other than that, it's a really exciting team. Onto the bench then, we got Ronan Kelleher. Watch out for him making an impact off the bench. Jeremy Loughlin, who came in as injury cover just before Healy actually got ruled out of the Rugby World Cup. So kind of whirlwind for him, he probably thought he was just coming in for that one game, and then he would be like sitting waiting for a phone call to see if somebody got injured and he got called up, but ended up actually going in the squad. So now he potentially going to make his World Cup debut from the bench. Tom O'Toole, who I thought was probably in terms of props, probably our best carrier in the Six Nations just gone. So expect impact from him off the bench, carrying in the loose as well. Ian Henderson, absolute warhorse of a player. When he comes on, again, another player that's going to have an impact. Worry a little bit about him in terms of picking up injuries, and hopefully, that doesn't happen to him. Josh Van der Fleer, last year's World Player of the Year, and maybe not at the same height as that, but still, really good player, and it shows, there's so much impact coming off the bench. Got Conor Murray, who beat Tate Casey to be on the bench, and you got Jack Crowley there. Excited to see how many minutes he gets. Hopefully, it isn't one of these, like, given the last 5 minutes or less in the game. Hopefully he gets at least 15 minutes to show what he can do. I think Sexton, for me, give Sexton maybe 55, 60 minutes just to get those minutes in his legs, then put Crowley on, I think, is the main thing to do. And Robbie Henshaw, who's, can cover, centre and at a pinch, then, you could stick Ringrose out in the wing or whatever. So there's plenty covered, I think, on the bench and the backs. But really strong, not just the starting team, but also the bench here. personally, I would have liked to have seen more of the kind of wider squad involved in this game, but I think, certain like players carrying knocks and stuff maybe has played into that, and also the fact that it's the first game and you need to start it well. You can't be struggling against Romania. But what I worry about is that Ireland teams that in World Cups against minnows where we've gone very strong, we have struggled to impose ourselves because I think players have one eye on bigger games in the pool. So I hope that this team are going to kind of book that trend and just go out there and get a great start and not take their foot off the gas. Not think if they get a few early tries that, okay, the game is done. Keep going and try and build up a big score, because it could come down to, bonus points and points difference depending on how the games against the likes of South Africa and Scotland go later in the pool. So if we're picking a big team, I'm expecting that we're going for a big score and we're not going to kind of be complacent about that. So fingers crossed that's going to happen. In terms of the last time these two teams played, that was back in the 2015 World Cup. So that was in England, and it was Ireland 44, Romania 10. That's kind of been, similar margins to that down through the years, kind of Ireland getting 40 odd points, Romania getting kind of single digits or somewhere in the teens mainly. And I think the biggest margin was 60-0 to Ireland. So, this Ireland team certainly has the potential to break that record. We saw Italy, run up 57 points to 7 against this Romania team in the warm-ups. So, but the thing is, it's Romania's first game of the tournament as well. They're not there to make up the numbers. They're going to, first game out, they're going to put their best foot forward. They're going to make it awkward for Ireland. They're going to try and keep the score close as long as they can. And if Ireland do, drop a couple of gears after maybe scoring a few early tries, Romania will take advantage of that and make it very awkward for Ireland. And then we're maybe going to have to rely on that bench to pick things up from there. But in terms of what I'm expecting from this game, I expect Ireland to win well. I expect Romania, as I said, to make it awkward for us early on. But given the quality that is on the bench, I expect Ireland to come home strongly as well. That maybe somewhere in the middle of the game, we're going to have a bit of a blip, but hopefully we've built up enough of a score that we don't get into, a bit of an arm wrestle with them where we're kind of struggling to get our bonus point or it ends up being like a 15 or 20 point margin where we were looking for a 30 or 40 point margin instead. But I think that Ireland should have way too much for Romania, but as I said, just because it's their first team, they need to show them respect and they need to actually win the game. You can't just turn up and say, well, we're clearly better than you, so just let us run in some tries. We're going to have to work really hard for it, but hopefully we come through in the end.